This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, an overseas driver has appeared in Queenstown Court in relation to yesterday's fatal collision in the resort town. A former factory worker stockpiled some Dunedin-made chocolate and is auctioning it as a fundraiser. And a former paddleboarding world champion has joined the shift to hydrofoiling, allowing her to fly above the water. Kia ora, good evening. I'm Daryl Baser. A man has been charged with dangerous driving following the death of an elderly woman in a collision on Queenstown's Frankton Road yesterday afternoon. Emergency services were called to the accident involving a motorcycle and two cars just after 3:30 p.m.
An elderly woman is dead and a tourist has been charged with dangerous driving causing death following a crash near Queenstown yesterday afternoon. 2 other people were injured in the crash, which involved 2 cars and a motorcycle. Police arrested the 29-year-old driver last night and he will appear in the Queenstown District Court on Monday.
There's been a crash, serious crash involving 2 cars and a motorcycle. Tragically, one of the people involved in the crash has died. Another person is at Queenstown Hospital with serious injuries.
The woman was driving one of the cars, and police say the arrested driver's car crossed a centre line head-on into her vehicle and a motorcyclist.
At this stage, it would appear that one vehicle may have crossed the centre line head-on into the traffic on the other side of the road.
It's the second serious crash on this stretch of road in 3 days, and while the cause of the crash is still under investigation, police say public should heed the usual road safety messages.
Make sure you're wearing your seatbelt, drive while well rested, watch the car in front and drive to the conditions.
Yesterday's crash saw one lane of the road being closed for around an hour, while Saturday's 3-car collision had the same road completely closed for 4.5 hours. In Queenstown, The South Today.
One person has died after a serious crash between a truck and a car in Invercargill this afternoon. The crash happened just before 1 p.m. at the intersection of D and Avenel Streets. Shortly after the crash, police confirmed one person died as a result of their injuries. A witness told the Otago Daily Times the truck was turning into Avenel Street while the car was pulling out when the vehicles collided. The road was closed following the crash but has since reopened. Megan Fairley has been thinking of how to make the best use of a bad situation for a couple of years. Before she was laid off from Dunedin's Cadbury factory in 2018, she bought the last box of caramel to come off the Dunedin factory line and has now found a worthy cause to raise funds for. It's been around 2 years since production ceased at Dunedin's Cadbury chocolate factory. But a former Cadbury worker has held on to the last 20 blocks of caramel, waiting for a worthy cause to raise funds for, and now believes she's found one.
So the funds we've connected through our business through Notion Fashion. We've connected with a young lady up in Auckland called Maya Marshall, and she's doing some fundraising at the moment for the Australian bushfires, and she's only 14 years old and she's an absolute inspiration.
Fairley is the former frontline leader of the second floor night shift team and has tested some of the batch. She believes being stored securely for a couple of years may have improved the product.
I opened it and did taste some. I was like, wow, this is kind of aged like a really good wine kind of thing. And actually, I reckon it tastes better than almost when it did when we produced it.
She bought the chocolate from the company, paying $53.60 at a factory sale, and noticed it had the night shift date code, meaning it was made by her production team. She says there's already been significant interest in the auction on the Trade Me site.
So it's going up every day, so if we keep pushing it along, yeah, it would be fantastic, and I think it would make the staff really proud too, to know that their product is still really valued, even though it's a little bit old.
The auction ends on Sunday, and proceeds are earmarked for the fundraising efforts of 14-year-old Aucklander Maya Marshall, who's set to give to Red Cross Australia and the Wildlife Information Rescue and Education Service. In Dunedin, The South Today. Solutions for the annual rubbish problem in the student quarter are being sought after furniture from flats was dumped on footpaths around North Dunedin in recent weeks. While the Dunedin City Council inspection of the student area last December found the streets mostly clean and tidy, another inspection last week found furniture, rubbish and mattresses dumped on footpaths. The Dunedin City Council has spent $8,500 in recent weeks removing 26 truckloads of waste from the campus area. The University of Otago is already providing skips at 11 different locations for 13 days each year. It's now considering further steps to improve the rubbish situation in North Dunedin, but it's not known whether this will mean extra skips. A Wanaka paddleboarder who has reached the pinnacle of her sport several times in the last decade has decided to change tack. The former world champion Annabelle Anderson has joined the shift to hydrofoiling, allowing her to fly above the water.
Riding the wake of a boat on Lake Wanaka, using a surfboard with a hydrofoil attached underneath, former world champion paddleboarder Annabelle Anderson is chasing a new thrill. She says hydrofoils have been around for a long time and have been undergoing a renaissance in the last few years, with them being attached to wind and kite surfers and surfboards.
You can attach a foil to pretty much any kind of watercraft. You'll see it on boats. Obviously the America's Cup has drawn a huge amount of attention to it since we started strapping them to the bottom of both trimarans, catamarans and now monohulls.
She says the best way to master hydrofoiling is being pulled along using a rope line to get up to speed behind a boat, which then allows the hydrofoiler to ride the wake wave created by the boat.
I was pulled to get up and that really just gives me the momentum to put myself where I want to be on the wake behind a boat, and it is the best way to start to master the balance of flying the foil, your body positioning, how you can maneuver the foil, how you can pump it to generate your own momentum, and the whole idea is that the line is slack.
While she says a background in surfing can definitely help, anyone can learn foiling by putting in the effort.
If you want to do something, turn up, commit, get some coaching, get some lessons, be set up with the right equipment and just chip away. And it's those micro gains over time that lead to mastery of a technique or a skill.
Anderson's next step is to dispense with using a boat to get up to foiling speed and instead use a kite for the same effect. In Wanaka, The South Today.
Still to come on The South Today, we have a look at a new mural in Roxburgh and check in with a hip-hop dance workshop raising funds for the Australian bushfires. See you after the break.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489-2274.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Larnach Castle is proud to showcase their new retail space. Simply purchase an annual garden pass for year-round access to the garden, cafe and gift shop, or apply for a host card giving you full access to the castle, ballroom, cafe, gift shop and garden when accompanied by a full paying guest. Check out the website for full terms and conditions.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, this technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chin.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
No mai anō, welcome back. An unlicensed Mosgiel builder who reportedly drove several people to bankruptcy has been sentenced to home detention. Rodney Day was sentenced to 7 months home detention and 150 hours of community work when he appeared in the Christchurch District Court today. He'd previously pled guilty to 15 charges of deception and forgery. Day becomes the first unlicensed builder to be charged under the Crimes Act since the Licensed Building Practitioners Scheme was introduced in 2007. Roxburgh's Main Street will soon have an additional splash of colour as work begins on a new mural. Street artists Hayley King and Ross Liu started sketching out some of the murals this weekend, set to cover the former Magnet tea rooms.
Workshop participants practicing cutting stencils and using spray paint to see the result of their work for the mural to be painted on Roxburgh's former Magnet tea rooms. The workshops have been popular with both residents and visitors who travelled from Christchurch, Invercargill and Southland to participate in the art project.
It's about learning how to hold the knife even and making sure that they're cutting into the stencil, the cut mat. So there's little technical things like that, and then really just, I mean, it's a difficult thing to teach, like anything kind of artistic. It's like you just got to have a go, you know.
Street artist Hayley King, known as Flocks, has asked those attending the workshops to come up with an image that explains what a Teviot Valley means to them. Some of the ideas submitted include architecture, fruit and the many cultures who have come here.
Everyone sort of feels differently or has a different experience with the Teviot, so we did expect there to be quite a vast, you know, a variety of different images to come out of it.
This last weekend, King and fellow artist Ross Liu projected images on the side of the building to guide where the mural will be painted.
We've got our projector over there and we're projecting the wall in, I'm not sure how many times we're going to have to project, probably about 9 times. But yeah, just putting down some basic lines for some parts of the mural, all the sort of freehand parts.
She says the layout of the building's walls will have a big influence in how the mural will look.
There's like 6 windows, I think, on the main side, so we had to work our design to suit and make sure that there's nothing major being lost behind any of the windows. So it's not just a big blank canvas, we've got to work around some architectural elements as well.
The project is the brainchild of the Teviot Valley Community Development Scheme alongside the Central Otago District's Arts Trust. In Roxburgh, the South Today.
A hip-hop workshop in Ashburton is one of many efforts across the country raising money for Australian bushfire relief. A 26-year-old former Ashburton dancer is behind the idea and says she wanted to do something for her hometown as well as help out people in her adopted home. Straight out of Ashburton. Now Melbourne resident Poppy Donaldson returned home to Ashburton over the holidays and chose to host a hip-hop dance workshop with proceeds going to the New South Wales Bushfires Fund.
It's something that really hits home for me because it's the place I chose to make my second home, and literally the whole country's on fire at the moment.
She says while the fires are mostly in New South Wales, there have been a few around her hometown of Melbourne, and says it's hitting the country hard.
There's been a lot of bushfires around Melbourne and it's affected a lot of the people I know and a lot of families of people I know, and so yeah.
25 women of all ages and abilities took up her offer to learn some hip-hop moves at the Balmoral Hall in downtown Ashburton, which is familiar territory for Donaldson.
We're actually doing the workshop today in my old studio where I grew up dancing.
She originally trained under Ashburton dance teacher Charmaine Quaid, then worked with musical theatre, including the children's and operatic theatres in Ashburton, and she says it's great to be back.
I've been dancing since I was 3. And I've been choreographing and teaching since I was 15, thanks to Ashburton, once again, who gave me all my first opportunities.
She says the day's dance session is all about people learning hip-hop moves and then putting them all together. By the end of the workshop, the dancers' performance looked like it could have come directly from a hip-hop music video. In Ashburton, the South Today. And after the break on the South Today, we see if Oamaru Harbour is safe to swim in, and take a look at the weather for Thursday and heading into the weekend. See you after the break.
Step into Shop on Carroll and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489-2274. Lana Castle is proud to showcase their new retail space. Simply purchase an annual garden pass for year-round access to the garden, cafe and gift shop, or apply for a host card giving you full access to the castle, ballroom, cafe, gift shop and garden when accompanied by a full paying guest. Check out the website for full terms and conditions.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. We have new items arriving every day. Visit us for a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Thanks for staying with us. Water testing results for Oamaru Harbour are being described as very good and safe for swimming. The Otago Regional Council has begun checking the water quality of the harbour following concerns raised by the public about shag faeces in the water. The results back up earlier testing by the Waitaki District Council, making sure the water is safe for divers repairing the Holmes Wharf. The council is planning to make testing of Oamaru Harbour a regular part of its summer recreation water quality monitoring. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. A tourist driver has appeared in Queenstown Court today in relation to yesterday's fatal collision in the resort town. A former Cadbury worker has stockpiled some of Dunedin-made chocolate and is auctioning it as a fundraiser to help those affected by the Australian bushfires. And a former paddleboarding world champion, Annabel Anderson, has joined the shift to hydrofoiling by allowing her to fly above the water. Time now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's Otago Times. Welcome the editor, Mr. Barry Stewart.
Hello, Daryl. Southern District Health Board has apologised to a man for the misdiagnosis of a head injury, which likely contributed to him spending years unable to find a job and a period of homelessness. One person has been killed in an Invercargill car crash today. That's the second fatal on roads in the south in 2 days, so frightening statistic there. We also talked fires, obviously the topic of conversation. We talked to a volunteer firefighter about the changing role in fire and emergency. And of course, following that, later than usual, there is a fire ban in Otago that has just been enforced, with the weather expected to get warmer. Summer has arrived.
Just as we all get back to work.
Well, exactly.
Well,
it's always the way, isn't it? You know.
Indeed.
Some of us, exactly. So climate change, as it relates to airports, will be analysed as part of studies into airport expansion in the Queenstown Lakes District. And one of Queenstown's 2 CBD casinos is likely to fold its cards next year. Wharf Casino's landlord may not renew the lease on the Steamer Wharf, on its Steamer Wharf premises past September 2021.
Wow. Thank you for that, Barry. All that more in tomorrow's Otago Times. Time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by MoleMap.
Starting with the southern view, feeding time for seabirds during the low tide on Otago Peninsula. Looking at the situation, an anticyclone remains just east of the South Island through the weekend into early next week, continuing the summery spell of fine weather. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymass and Westport are set for clear blue skies and 21 degrees. Heading across to the northeast, the clear skies continue over Nelson and Blenheim, where you can both expect 22 degrees. Heading for Canterbury, you'll have some cloudy skies across this area. Kaikoura aims for 17, Christchurch heads for 18, while it should reach 21 degrees in Ashburton, where you'll have the bright blue skies as well. Heading to the southern towns, the Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore are all due for light northeasterlies and fine weather. The Catlins should reach 20, Balclutha and Lumsden head for 24, while the Mercury should reach 23 in Gore. Heading across to central Otago, where the summer temperatures are set to continue with light winds and clear skies for all. And as for the rest of Te Waipounamu, wearing hats and sunscreen will be a very good idea tomorrow. Wanaka and Queenstown should be 27, Alexandra 28, and Te Anau you're set for 22 degrees. The song remains the same for northern towns. Timaru and Oamaru should plan for moderate northeasterlies and cloudy skies with 18 degrees. Twizel and Omarama, you're due for light winds and clear skies, Twizel 27 and Omarama 28 degrees. In Dunedin, mostly fine tonight, looking at an overnight low of 9 degrees. There's some low cloud in the morning and evening tomorrow, but mostly fine with long sunny periods by day, a high of 16 and a low of 9. Similar weather for Friday, with a high of 17 and a low of 10 degrees. And in Invercargill, fine and cool tonight, with an overnight low of 7 degrees. Tomorrow, plan for a few patches of mist or low cloud in the morning and at night, otherwise fine and sunny, a high of 21 and a low of 8. Similar conditions on Friday, with a high of 23 and low of 8. And that's all from the South Today team for this Wednesday. For the latest news from the Southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.